Going on, everybody? Welcome back. Welcome back. Rise Above is here for you. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how you, regardless of how much you might want to be making a positive change in your life, how you and your ego might be secretly or maybe not very secretly sabotaging your own transformation, stopping you from taking yourself to the next level. If this is your first time joining us, let me go ahead and tell you my name is Mario Rodriguez, and I created this channel to help anyone and everyone that is ready to shed their old skin, to rise out of the ashes like the phoenix, and more importantly, how you can do it and how you can do it today. Now, something that I know a lot of people deal with, and because of this, never actually get to the point of change. They might be knocking on the door, they might even be on the doorstep, but never actually step through, is because their own ego, their own mind, their own limiting beliefs are actually preventing them from doing the things they know they need to do. And if this is you, then I want to make sure you stay tuned because I'm hoping you'll get some value from this. Maybe one little thing I say here will change everything for you. I'm somebody who is now 4 years, about to be 4 years into my own transformation, living my new life. Essentially, I may be a 4 year old, but if I'm a 4 year old, then I'm attempting to turn you into a newborn baby that I'm gonna help come along and show you how to take your first baby steps, how to crawl, and eventually how to walk and run. That's my goal for today, and hoping we get there for somebody. So if you have any questions, please make sure if you don't get a chance to make it on the live, please drop any questions you have in comments, and I'll do my best to answer them and get back to everybody as quickly as I can. So let me tell you guys something that happened yesterday. My two young daughters, who I am over the moon for, were watching Bible Story for Kids on YouTube, and I don't want to get sidetracked. So they're watching Bible Story for Kids, and one of the first things they describe is how Jesus, and this, I'm describing the words in the video. It says Jesus was born in a stinky, small, dirty manger. And my 8 year old stopped it and came to the kitchen and asked me, Papa, why is the video saying that Jesus was born in a dirty, stinky manger? That's not nice. And I said, well, Mama, I said, there's a reason why they had to say it. Because every king before him and every king after him has always made it a point to say that there's certain things that are beneath them that they wouldn't be willing to do. Kings are, for the most part, born into royalty, so they're right out of the womb, brought into a life of luxury, of richness, of things that most people can't even imagine. And I told her the reason why they had to say that was because the reason why Jesus, be, so many reasons that Jesus made it very clear that he was the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords was he showed us that he was never above anything or anyone, and led with love, with humility, and it's what he wanted for everybody. I told her, I've always told her this: Jesus is a representation of love and what love is. Hello, Adrian Zacharias. I told her there's so many people that live every day not doing the things they want to do, not having the life they want to have, or not having the things that they desire because they're not willing to do things that they think are beneath them. As I explained to her, I work in construction, and there's times where I have to do things that I'm not crazy about doing, but it's part of the job. And if I don't do these things, then that means I'm not able to put food on the table. I'm not able to put a roof over our head. I'm not able to put new clothes, new shoes on their back and on their feet. I said, so when these things come up, regardless of how bad it might smell, how dirty I may get, whatever the case may be, it's never a question of if I'm going to do it. If it's what is required of me to take care of my family, then that's what I'm willing to do. And as I told her, I'll pray for you, brother. Thank you, Pursuit of Success. That's very kind of you, man. I told her that's what I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that we're all right. Hello, Zachary. Hello, Nixon. What's going on, everybody? If you're just joining us, I was just explaining that so many people will live a life below what they want to have, but will live a life that they're not happy with because they're not happy with their situations, with where they live, with whatever it is, material things that they want to have because they're not willing to do the dirty work. And the reality is, I was in your shoes not too long ago. Way to go, pursue success. Yes, yes. And the truth is, if you're not willing to do what some people may view as beneath them, you're never going to be able to level yourself up to to where it is you want to be in life. Because in order to change, in order to transform, you're going to have to go backwards before you can move forward. You're going to have to learn humility and learn to become somebody who is clueless in new things, whether it's your finances, whether it's your health, whether it's your first time going into the gym. I always say the strongest person in the gym is not the guy that's lifting the most weights or that's in the best shape. The strongest person in the gym is the person that's walking in for the first time because it takes way more strength to come in and be okay, to think that you're going to be judged and be made fun of, and people are going to stare at you knowing that you may have never walked into a gym before. You're going to walk in and not know what to do with some of the machines or how to stand or where to even start. These things take humility. And there's so many people that are going to be okay with just having a body, a state of mind that they hate rather than doing what's uncomfortable and starting from the bottom. So again, if your finances are screwed up, you have to be willing to not if everybody at your job goes out to eat every day and you think that you're going to look like less than them because you're going to be bringing eggs and steak that you make at home every day and eating at work, but you're so worried that they're going to look down on you because they're going to think, well, what's wrong? Does he not have enough money? But whatever the case is, then you're going to constantly be in that in that in that state of never having enough money because you're not willing to make the changes because you think it's beneath you to bring your own food to work, because it's beneath you to have the coffee that's free for you, and instead you'd rather keep going to Starbucks and spend $6 every day because you think that your value is tied to the things you have and what people see you with. So again, you have to be willing to do the things that you may have at one point looked at as beneath you to now begin your transformation and begin to level up. If you've never if you've never ran before and it's something you want to do, you have to be okay going out and just starting with walking, with power walking, with jogging, and with having people watch you fail over and over again. You see, in order to transform, you have to get to the point where you're just not going to care what people think about what you're doing because you think that And perhaps you might be right that they might say, I would never do that. I would never look that silly. I would never get my hands that dirty, etc., etc. Hello, Skylar, what's going on? So, if this is the year that you're serious about making the changes, about making the transformation to to have have the things that you've always wanted, have the life you always wanted, give up the addictions that you've always wanted, you have to first off understand that your mindset is going to be the most important factor in your change, and not just in your change, but in making it a permanent change. Because anybody anybody can do something new for a week. Again, whether that's eating healthy, whether that's adopting meditating, whatever the case is. But a lot of people will give up the moment somebody judges them, somebody laughs at them, and it could come from somewhere that you're just not prepared for. It could come from a spouse, it can come from a best friend, it can even come from a parent. I'm telling you because I've seen it all. I'm blessed to say that that's not my case, but I've been with people that are near and dear to me that have made the changes, luckily, but it was very hard for them to stick to it in the beginning because they were constantly being reminded by other people of who they were supposed to be. So you have to, number one, understand that you need to cut out all the outside noise, whether that's whether that's the people you surround yourself with, the people that are trying to bring you down, or truthfully, the people that love you and they just don't want to see you go, because people are going to try to trip you up, and it can be for many different reasons. And whatever it is, you have to be okay with just letting it roll off your back and moving to the side. I always give the analogy of a bullfighter. You have to look at when you're making these changes, especially in the beginning. You have to be very aware that these things are going to come at you, horns up, ready to take you out and bring you back to who you were. And you have to be ready to just move off to the side and not look back. You never see a matador, that's what they're called, matador, who's out there with a bull. After the bull gets out of the way, go after the bull and say, wait, hold on, hold on. Sorry, apologize to the bull. No, they simply move out the way and then they keep going and they keep going. Do they get do they get hit sometimes? Hell yeah. So are you gonna have setbacks? Most definitely. But you see, you have to start building a mind that's so resilient that every time you get hit with an obstacle, with a setback, that you now start not looking at these things as signs that you should have never made the changes that you did, but now look at these things as lessons and understand that in in every moment where things don't go as planned, there's always a lesson to be learned. Always a lesson to be learned. And if you have things in your past that either have made you feel as if you were limited to the things you can do, or even worse, make you feel guilty about maybe relationships you've ruined in the past, or people you've hurt. So now you believe that this new life, you're not worthy of it because you whatever you did. If you could be willing to accept and forgive yourself, and if you have the ability to 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 find that person that you did wrong and apologize, regardless if they forgive you or not, you can go ahead and start moving forward. But if you've got things that you know that you're you're responsible for, that maybe screwed somebody over, you have to now not think in the way where, well, you know what, they did this to me first, So why should I apologize? Or well, you know what? My dad wasn't around, so I wasn't around for my kids. And now they're grown up and they don't talk to me, but they should understand. You see, all these things you have to let them go. And if you're able to make peace with somebody, don't stop waiting for other people to come in and do it first. Just take care of the things that need to be taken care of so you can let go and start working on yourself. Secondly, you have to understand that there's always going to be a voice in your head. Sorry, guys, it's getting hot in here. You have to understand that there's always going to be a voice in your head talking. And in the beginning, the majority of times, it's going to be it's going to be a voice that's going to try to protect you. There's a lot of different names for this, the ego, the subconscious, whatever the case is. But what you have to understand is that our mind is there to protect us. So if you're doing something new, again, whether it's your first time working out, whether it's your first time stepping into a library because you want to renew your passion for reading and feed your mind, whatever it is, regardless of how good your intentions are, regardless of how good doing this thing is going to be for you, long term and short term, you have to be prepared for your own mind, your own ego to try to sabotage you and let you know and remind you that these things that you want to do, you don't have to do them. You don't have to do them. You can be okay being where you're at because guess what? It's not that bad where you're at right now. It's not that bad being at a job that you hate. It's not that bad barely scraping by. And the truth is, if you're aware that it's not okay and that you're not all right, then you have to realize that that voice that you're hearing, that voice is trying to protect you from your new you. It's trying to hold on to that old version of you. So be very mindful of the voices when they come in, and understand that there's a deeper there's a deeper part of you that is ready to come out, that there is a light inside of you that wants to shine, and the only way that's going to happen is by you slowly chipping away at these walls that you put up, at these situations that you've created for yourself that have been blocking your light this whole time. If you can start doing that consistently without without worrying about what people are going to think, without worrying about how you're going to look when you begin for the first time, then your transformation is not only going to be immediate, just alone for the fact that you're now thinking differently, but the things that you're trying to produce, the things that you're trying to have as a result of it are going to come a lot quicker when you reduce that friction of you fighting against yourself. So if you can prepare for something before it happens, then when that moment comes up, there's a good chance that you won't even waste any sort of mental fortitude trying to take this thing on. You're gonna say, and this happens to me all the time, which is when I feel and hear myself making an excuse to not do something, and I know it's something positive that I need to do, then I know that's the thing that I need to give the most attention to and the most energy to, because it's my ego, it's my subconscious that's trying to prevent me from continuing to level up. Any change, any transformation is going to hurt in the beginning. When you begin exercising and you begin working out, your body is going to hurt, it's going to ache before you begin to build muscles. But you have to understand, in order to build muscles, the pain is required. Without the pain, there will be no muscles. And that's not just me speaking physically, that's me speaking mentally, that's me speaking spiritually. Anything that's worth having is going to hurt in the beginning because it's new and your brain is not accustomed to it. But if you can build if you can not only build, but just already make it a point that resiliency is now a character that you have, then you're gonna, believe it or not, look forward to these moments of friction because you know that you're on the right path. When you do run into these situations, you got to make sure that you hold your head up high. You got to make sure that if for some reason there's something that you try to pursue and for whatever reason it doesn't work out, that you don't hang your head low after that. Because you doing that, you're only feeding your ego and your subconscious further that it was right and that whatever this was you wanted to achieve wasn't going to happen. Something I tell my daughters all the time. The only way you can fail is if you quit, point blank. If you think you failed at something, so you give up, you better believe that you've failed for sure. But if you can learn to pivot, to to go, to steer the course a little bit, then you would be amazed at the path and the roads that God will put you on to eventually get you to the things you wanted. I lived in California my whole life, and the last 2 years I lived there, I tried my hardest to get into construction, to get into the unions, and it's just it's such a long line there to get in that it just never happened. And I remember questioning why it wouldn't happen. This was also accumulated with a very bad drinking habit I had at the time, and us moving to Texas, me not really having a plan coming out here. The fact that through a very unusual set of circumstances, I ended up landing a union construction job here in Texas that I've been at going on 3 years. So none of that would have happened if I would have just folded, gave up, and said, well, you know what? I'll just stay at this job that I hate. I've been here 10 years. What's another 10 years? When I left that job, everybody tried to talk me out of it. Even the manager, who at first pretended to be okay with me leaving, eventually took me in his office, sat me down, and tried to talk me out of it. Offered me more money, offered me whatever the case is. But again, and even when I turned it down, I had to be okay with people looking at me and making me feel like I was making a mistake. I knew I wasn't. I knew I wasn't because at that point I had already built a little bit of resilience in my mind to do things that were outside of myself, like pursuing a new job, like leaving the state that I grew up in to give a better life for my family. So I want to end it on this, which is if you're not willing if you're not willing to get your hands in the dirt, if you're not willing to look silly, if you're not willing to stumble and fall in front of everybody, then you need to just start getting used to living a life, a mediocre life that you're not happy with, and you have to accept being okay with wondering what if the rest of your life. Those are just facts because the reality of it is no one is going to come and bring you the life that you truly want. It's something that you have to be willing to go and do for yourself. But here's the good news. If you're able to do it with with giving zero shits about what people are going to say or how they're going to judge you when you begin, I can promise you the noise, the voices, all these things, they quickly go away when people realize that you're serious. When people realize that this is not just you, this is not New Year's version of you that you're going to change, that things are different this time, that you're actually now looking different, walking different, talking different, and that's going to scare people. That's going to make people respect you. And truthfully, that's going to make, as I said before, all the noise, all the things that come at the beginning go away. Will they go away permanently? No. But just alone for the fact that you're not going to care what they say, and you're going to be so focused on doing the things that you need to do for yourself that it's not going to matter what they're saying. It's not going to matter what you're hearing. I've literally had people talk in front of me about about their reasons why they think I'm doing what I'm doing, or why they don't do what they got to do. And you know what? I don't care. It doesn't matter because none of that is going to help me get to the goals that I have for me and my family. So I hope this video served you or served somebody you love. As always, make sure you check out our other videos, check out our content that we have here on our channel. If any of this is a blessing to you, please subscribe. Make sure you smash like, and we'll talk to you later. Goodbye.